Hello, and welcome to Downtown for the wrap up episode from season one. So, now that we've been going through all of the different families, I wanted to make this video to make sort of a conclusion of the first season and also actually to give myself a chance to recall what we've been doing because it was like a year and a half since I started playing this first rotation. And some of it has been quite blurry for me. I've also noticed that as I've been sitting through watching my own videos from season one here, that I've been mixing up some things back and forth a few times. Not a lot, but it's happened. So I think it was good for me to sit down and actually try to recall everything that's been going on and to make this wrap up video. So there's some things that I want to do with the neighborhood, of course, but I am a little bit limited on time right now. And, I've been mentioning that I want to add in a few extra roads here and there. And that's something that you can actually do with a new version of SimPE that I have not gotten yet and I have not tried out. So I think I want to put that on the back burner because I don't really need to do that right now anyway. Things are looking quite good already, and it's better to just, move this ahead and start playing with the Sims and families and then make little changes every now and then. That's going to be better than just trying to finish everything in one fell swoop. It's just going to take too long. So that's actually something that I've been thinking about when it comes to sort of the intermittent phase before I start with season two. I decided not to make a huge renovation project for this. I've actually decided to maybe make one or two speed builds, then make a let's play video, maybe make another speed build, make another let's play video, just to move this along, because otherwise I feel like it's going to take too long before we get to the actual gameplay. And I think I'm also going to do something similar as to how I've been doing things in Pleasant View, that I'm going to be combining several families into one episode. And that way we can hopefully both see some interactions between the families when it makes sense, but also move things along a little bit quicker so that we are not stuck on Monday week one for a year, So that's my plans. So as for this episode, I am simply going to do two things. I'm going to run through the different families and let you know my thoughts about them after having rewatched the footage, and also bring up some comments that I thought was extra noteworthy from the videos as well. And then I also want to exit the game and go into SimPE in order to resolve finally the issue with the broken face templates. That's what I'm going to do as well. But let's leave that for last. Let's start with just running through the different families. And I'm going to go episode by episode. So I've been just sitting, rewatching my things as I've been sick the last week, actually. So it was pretty good timing in that sense that I didn't have much else to do. So I've got some notes here. Let's start with the Phelps sisters. So that is Trista Phelps and Lakshmi Phelps. In general, about the family, I've written that the parents are not in the picture. Something tragic must have happened to them, and Trista moved to an apartment with her younger sister. Both sisters are just working to earn money. Neither are good at cooking. Both tend to get hyper-focused on their interests. And as for Trista, she is a knowledge romance sim. Her lifetime wish is to woohoo with 20 different sims. And she's interested in tinkering and science. She seems to be pretty frugal because she wanted to grow vegetables in her backyard. So that lets me know that she wants to save the money that she earns as much as she can. She's in the business career. And she is shy. And she appears to be comfort-seeking, and that's how I kind of view her secondary romance aspiration, that Well, something tragic has happened with her family, and she probably hasn't received enough love as a child, and now she's seeking that sense of comfort out in romantic relationships as an adult. She appears to be interested in foreign cultures. I think that she spoke quite a lot about traveling, maybe, in the episode as I was playing. Oh, yeah, and I think she also actually rolled a want to travel to a foreign destination as well. So I think there's quite a lot that she wants to do with money when she eventually has a more stable life situation than she does at the moment. So I guess she's longing for that stability in her life and a sense of safety. I think that a stable partner would be really good for her. And yeah, I think that it's very plausible to add the hopeless romantic trait to her, that she's basically looking for her soulmate. Might be that I'm going to hold off for a bit as she's trying things out, and maybe she's going to start out being a little bit more chaotic in her romantic endeavors, but that when she meets the right person, that maybe things change. So I'm going to keep an eye out on the kind of Sims that she meets and what happens. She seems to be very focused on providing for her sister, and I think that ties together with her frugalness and the way that she's focusing on her career, making sure to earn a wage and provide, I guess, stability for her sister at the moment. I was considering while I was playing that she might be a potential teacher, but as I had sat watching through the video, I actually don't think that teaching would suit her. And I think I might have mentioned that in the episode as well, that it's not the perfect fit. So I don't think I'm going to go with that direction for her. She was very interested in tinkering, of course, even though she didn't have anything to tinker with in her apartment at the moment. But on the other hand, she appeared to be pretty clumsy in the kitchen. So she might not be very used to working with her hands at the moment, but that might be something that changes. And she did roll once for pets, and I think that she would want a cat. I think that she would prefer a cat instead of a dog. So let's see how that works. As for Lakshmi, she is a romance sim. She has the hobbies arts and crafts and games. And she is an aspiring stylist. She is studying cosmetology on the side of her studies, and that's something that I have decided that I want to go for with her. I was considering either plastic surgery, since she was working in the medical career, but I've actually decided that I'm going to go for the stylist path instead, because I just felt like that suited her way more. I was considering that once she moves on to uni, that she's going to have like basement makeovers for her friends. And I think that would be quite fun. As I mentioned, she's in the medical career right now, but I guess that's just basically to earn a wage. And she appeared to be argumentative and playful. There was a scene when she approached a neighbor just to sort of lecture him. So I thought that was quite a striking moment. And looking at the comments on this video, there were quite a lot of them. Career idea for the older sister, since she's into tinkering and science, plus is shy but neat and active. Maybe she can be into robotics. And I think that's a fair point. I could really see Trista being interested in that. She's not going to be able to afford a robot station at the moment, but that could definitely be something that she would want to do in future. I could see that happening, since she was both into science and tinkering, as stated, and I'm also using a mod that changes so that the robot station actually provides science hobby enthusiasm instead of tinkering, so that would make sense in that way as well. It's funny that both the sisters have a high interest in crime. Perhaps that could allude to a certain family background in the crime world. The names are a funny mix too. Trista meaning someone noisy or full of sorrows, and Lakshmi being a good sign or omen. Quite a contrast. Art and tinkering are pretty big differences too. Very old work skills versus new age abstract flowery hobby. It's cute that they both seem to like the girly pigtails and pink aspects though. And I quite agree that they did turn out quite different, but it's quite charming that they have some similarities as well with the styles and so on. So yeah, I could definitely see Tristan not really being interested in fashion and such things, but maybe that Lakshmi has influenced her in some ways there. And it is very possible also with them coming from a pretty shaky background then that there has been some crime involvement there as well. That's very possible. About the tinkering hobby, if I may give a few suggestions, there are the train set and the remote control toy as well. There's also the option to blog about tinkering, so one could be an expert on the subject without actually practicing it. Or maybe a YouTuber who does DIY videos and repairing/upgrading objects. You could have a sim who loves to thrift old vintage trinkets to repair and upgrade them, and then either collect or resell them in their own store. And I thought that was really, really cute. You know, imagine having like a second-hand store or something for Trista that she, I suppose, is given furniture if someone is gonna move or change something up, rather than me just selling it. I could preserve it and hand it over to Trista to sell in her store. That could definitely work, because playing The Sims, we tend to move the Sims around quite a lot and change out their furniture and such. So yeah, that would be fun. And then it could also be somewhere for families to pick up furniture if they need something secondhand, you know. But yeah, there actually is a few things to choose from here. Of course, the train set is pretty big and bulky, so that's not going to really fit anywhere, I don't think. But, you know, blogging about tinkering is actually a really good point, that would work really well. She would have to be pretty advanced in the skill level though, so maybe she would just, you know, read about tinkering for a while before she starts blogging about it. My headcanon is that their parents were in the criminal career, got involved in something dangerous, so that is why they are living alone now, and why Trista had the lifetime want to become a criminal. Yeah, that would make sense. I can really see the two of them coming from a really dark and troubling background after all, and crime is a good fit for that, so yeah, definitely. I like the idea of Lakshmi going into cosmetology. I think she just took the medical career to save up to get the makeover chair and the building for her business. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're not wealthy by any means. They really need to work hard to earn something, to start something up. So yes, that could definitely be why she took the job, just took any job that she could get, basically, to start earning and to help with the household funds, I think, as well, because yeah, of course, now Trista is indebted because she needed to provide for her. So I think that it's possible that Lakshmi would like to pay her back in some way as well. Maybe Trista could consider opening a science center here in downtown. Yeah, that's another great idea, actually. I don't think I want to play out a typical science career like I have in Pleasant View or Strangetown, because I've just played that so much now that I want something different. But yeah, this could definitely be an idea, that she has like a workshop where she sells robots, or yeah, other kinds of, maybe something smaller could be a good idea as well. But yeah, I could totally see her have a small business down the line, for sure. About the tinkering hobbies, I would suggest robot crafting, but I think you may have the mod that makes it into science. I do, but I think they would fit anyway, since she has like both science and tinkering hobbies. In that case, she does give me woodworking vibes. I guess because of the garden and the artsy vibe of the house, it makes me feel that woodworking would have a bit of a country, natural, artisan vibe to it. That's also a great point, that could work as well. I do have the woodworking station in my game as well, that could actually work. And that could also tie in a little bit if she would be refurbishing furniture. I guess I could pretend that that's what she's doing, you know. even if it's not exactly that. Between the options for Lakshmi, I like the fashion and the cosmetology ones a lot. It does give me a nice vibe for her. Maybe she can own a hairdressing salon eventually, or a high-end clothing store. Both sound quite fitting for downtown. Yeah, for sure. I think that my main ideas for her right now is that she's gonna be a stylist for a celebrity down the line. But that could really take a lot of different shapes and forms. And when I'm considering what playing her would be like, I guess that I would be summoning her in when I'm playing the celebrities. But of course, then I would need to have some sort of job for her as I'm actively playing her household as well. So it definitely could be a good idea to combine it with an owned salon that she has downtown somewhere. Yeah, because then I could play that salon as I'm playing her household and then summon her in for the other stuff. So it could definitely be a good idea. All right, and next we have the Wilson family. So that is a single mother with 2 sons that she had young. Different fathers, neither in the picture. Lindsay is very neat, but the boys are messy, mostly Lauren, to be fair. The boys enjoy playing video games against each other, so that's something that they are bonding over. So we have Lindsay, who is a knowledge family sim. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the dance career. She has the science and dance hobbies. And she had a dream of becoming a dancer, but her pregnancy at uni forced her to prioritize a more secure career path. She is currently a science teacher, so she's going to be one of the Sims who are working at the high school that I'm going to prepare. She appears to be neat and structured. She likes going out dancing and clubbing, which might be a little bit surprising, but I think that ties together with her wanting to live in downtown, and also now that her boys are a little bit older, she has more free time to herself and she can enjoy those interests that she has had to put to the side while she was raising them. She's longing for a lifelong partner and more children. She's seeking stability, so she's quite similar to Trista in that way, then, that she's looking for something secure, something that provides both stability in her emotional life with the partner, but also more secure financial situation as well, because up until now she's had to shoulder all of that responsibility herself. So there's only so much that she can do with her own salary as a science teacher, Having a second income in a household would also add a lot of security. She also appears to want a pet, and I'm not sure whether she would want to have a cat or a dog yet. I think I'm leaning more towards dog, possibly, for her. And she has befriended her neighbor Tristan. So yeah, they seem to have quite a lot in common, so I think that they can get along quite well. Then we have Lauren, who is the older son and also one of John Smith's children. He is a pleasure sim. He is a fitness/sports sim. He is currently in the military career. That's not going to stick because I don't want to use that in his neighborhood, but that's what he has at the moment. He appears to be the odd one out in the family. Like his mother and his younger brother have quite a lot in common, and he's not really at the same wavelength. So I can really envision the two of them having quite a lot of deep conversation about science and theory, those kinds of things. And Lauren is just not coping with that topic at all. So he doesn't really have any input, and that's why he's sort of feeling left out at times. He seems to be very social and fun-seeking, and he is interested in his neighbor Lakshmi. I think they had 2 attraction bonds or something. And then we have Ash, his little brother. He's a knowledge sim, like his mother. He is also a science sim, like her, but he's also interested in games, as he's playing quite a lot on his own, but he's also playing with his older brother. He is in the science career, and he appears to be a bit of a copy of his mother. They are so similar. He doesn't appear to be particularly attracted to girls, but he did check out Frikorith as he was walking past. We have a Frikorith here walking past. I'm gonna ignore him for now. Ash looked very interested though. So that made me wonder if maybe he thinks that he's straight, but maybe he is going to eventually turn out to be bisexual once he's sort of exploring his own sexuality later on. We're going to have to see how that works out. He enjoys reading sci-fi, and that also ties together with the science stuff, of course, and the games, I guess. So he's a bit of a nerd. Yes, that's what I got from them. I have two possible theories as to why she didn't pursue ballet as a career. Theory one is pretty basic. She was living and breathing ballet up until an injury changed her life for good. That led her to be depressed and to get with a very wrong for her Chikor guy. Theory two is so much more dark. Chikor guy is rich, and rich people are often art benefactors and give a lot of money to different art organizations. What if he was funding the ballet company that the teenage Lindsay was dancing in? She had to have been a teen, and he an adult judging by their ages. He groomed her, which led to her getting pregnant and so traumatized by the Chikor encounter that she left professional ballet for good. Or she was let go from the company because Chikor didn't want the scandal to reach out to his rich sim circles. I mean, it is pretty dark, but I do love that idea. I do have quite a lot of plans surrounding the Chikor mystery and what led to all of these children being born. I really do like the thought of there being some kind of involvement with a ballet company of some kind, or something that John Smith was involved with somehow. There seems to be quite a lot of art and culture related businesses that the higher-ups are involved in after all, so it would make sense that a ballet company is also part of that whole thing. And it is very possible that Lindsay was attending classes there and that they somehow met. I think that the injury part in particular fits in here, and I'm gonna get to that a bit later, so maybe just put that at the back of your mind. I'm not gonna reveal like what lies behind it all, because I think it would be more fun for you to learn that as we move along in the series, but I can tell you a few things about, how John Smith has done this, but I'm gonna keep why to myself for now. So I think that, for sure, Lindsay could have been injured during the ballet trainings and she ended up hospitalized and then some things happened. Maybe Lindsay isn't pursuing a dance career because it requires a lot of traveling. If she was without children, it would be much easier to travel the same world. Lindsay might be on her way of getting her life straight after experiencing some bumpy roads. Being a single mother of two by force probably led Lindsay to make some questionable decisions. That's very true. And of course, being a single mother and providing for two young boys can't be easy. And as mentioned, if it requires traveling, it just won't work. Not unless she had money for someone to look after the kids, but I don't think that she would have wanted to leave them either. I could really see Lindsay being a doting and responsible mother who wants to be there for her kids, and traveling a lot and being away from them really probably isn't what she wanted for them. So I think there are several reasons for why she would not have wanted to pursue the career. The idea that her hobby is science, but her dream is to dance, makes me wonder if her actual hobby wasn't on the scientific side of dancing, like the history of dance and ballet, or maybe the study of dancers' health, like ballerinas' weight, feet, and posture. A total dance nerd, one of these people who like to collect random knowledge about the stuff that they love. Yeah, I could see that being the case, maybe especially if she was injured and couldn't continue for different reasons. She probably wanted to keep ballet in her life in some capacity, and since she is interested in science and those things, it would make a lot of sense. So yes, for sure, I do think so. For Lauren, especially being a teenager, I imagine him being quite fed up sometimes. He has a good relationship with his mom and his brother, but as soon as I saw him getting into the military, I immediately thought, this absent father figure thing is really getting to you, huh? Very fair point. I do think that Lauren is coping with the lack of a father figure in that way, and it makes a lot of sense to find male role models elsewhere when he can't find them at home. And thankfully, it was a place of responsibility, like the military. It could have been, crime, and that wasn't the case. So that's actually quite good. And Ash gave me a different vibe completely. While I imagine Lauren missing an absent father, I see Ash as totally attached to his mom, perhaps because she's all he has. He ends up mimicking her hobbies, her career, maybe thinking she's so cool he wants to impress her. Not necessarily consciously, maybe in the subconscious, but still. I wonder what it would do to him to find out that she has a completely different dream that she gave up on for them, and that she still wants to follow it, which would mean her becoming, in a way, quite different from what he knows. It is quite interesting, actually, and I think that it's a great point that Lauren coped with this whole situation by finding role models elsewhere, but then Ash coped with it by latching onto their mother, and with him being younger, it actually makes a lot of sense, I think, that she is just his security blanket and he does want her to dote on him, and I think that he potentially feeds off positive reinforcement quite a lot, and that could make him susceptible to being manipulated down the line as well. So I guess he's a softie in some ways compared to his brother. All right, moving on, we have the Grey brothers. Ray and Dominic have taken in their younger brother and have very different ideas about how to raise him. They share the chores equally, neither enjoy cooking or cleaning, but they get the job done. They enjoy going for jogging rounds together. Then we have Ray, who is a knowledge pleasure sim. He is interested in sports and fitness. His lifetime wish is to go on 50 dream dates, and he's in the athletic career. He seems to be pretty practical and responsible as the oldest sibling, and he has taken on sort of the parental role in the household. I guess he's the one dishing out chores and giving praise and lecturing and things like that. He is interested in Lindsay Wilson somewhat, and he appears to be a gym rat, so I think that he's going to frequent the gym as soon as I have set that up. But on the other hand, he's sloppy, so I guess this doesn't really come completely naturally to him to look after the household in this way, but he's doing his best. We have Dominic, who is a romance popularity sim, and I was actually realizing as I was rewatching this that there's very few romance sims actually in Downtown, and I think it might just be Dominic out of the adults. I might stand corrected on that, but I think so. And then we have 2 teenagers, I think. Yeah, but he's a romance sim anyway, and the popularity secondary. He is interested in music and games. His lifetime wish is to woohoo with 20 sims. He is in the intelligence career. He rose really, really quickly in that career once he got it. He is interested in crime, so that makes sense. He is a bass player and he wants to join a band. And he seems to thrive on meeting new people. So that actually ties together with his lifetime wish to woohoo with 20 sims, I think, that he wants to meet a lot of girls to hang out with. He seems to be reckless and confident, and I guess that personality has helped him rise in the ranks so quickly in his job. He's great at building connections, and that's making him thrive in his career. But he's also lazy. So I think that he probably wants to take the easy way out at times. And then we have Nolan, who is a knowledge sim. He has the tinkering hobby, and he's also in the science career, same as Ash. He loves cars. He just has a toy car at the moment, but I can really see him being a car enthusiast down the line. He's friends with Ash Wilson as their colleagues as well, and he's interested in Haley Dalton, actually. And I noticed that as I was playing Haley as well, that they had 2 attraction balls with each other, so that might be something. And he likes challenges. There was actually a chance card that he was trying to use a helicopter toy to sneak peek at the test answers in school, and that he took that as a fun challenge, basically. So I think that he might be allowed to act out a little bit in the household, being the baby in the family. For some reason, I think their parents were known criminals who were caught and soon ended their lives in prison. Ray ran away from home as he realized what they were doing, and for a while he was forced to do science, although he always dreamed of a sports career. Dominic was younger, and they managed to get him involved, but since it was through no fault of his own, the authorities treated it loyally. Perhaps he also decided that past criminal experience would be useful in intelligence, and so he chose that direction. I would say that the past experience was so challenging for him that now everything comes easy to him. This may also explain why Nolan has a career in science and moved to another city with his brothers. It also explains why they talk about crime over breakfast. They were raised that way, but choose the right path in life. And I think that's really sweet. I mean, it's pretty similar to Trista and Lakshmi's background then, but maybe that could be something that they just have in common, I guess. And yeah, it really does make sense, pointed out like that. I found it interesting that both Ray and Dominic ended up with lifetime wishes related to hooking up with lots of people, and hobbies that are usually quite related to that. For Ray, we have a sports guy who wants to have 50 dream dates. I wonder still how knowledge comes into play here. Is he that one very clever jock who was the one guy who got straight A's grades on a group of guys that valued physical above intellectual? I can think of him being that guy that played sports for college for scholarships while wanting to follow another career, but ended up being so good at the sport that it followed into the athletic career path. Being an athlete is great with the girls too, so with a lifetime wish like that, he probably thought, hey, that can help me land a lot of cool dates, plus the money doesn't suck. So there he goes. Maybe that's also a layer of concern for the younger brother, as they have to take care of him and money would be very welcome. Either way, a win-win situation. That makes a lot of sense, definitely. As for Dominic, I have to say, as soon as he rolled romance popularity, 20 woohoos, and the music as a hobby, I immediately pictured him as a wannabe rock star. What's an easier way to land ladies and make influential friends than becoming the next rock god? Indeed. I know there's a law enforcement idea going on, but I got that stuck in my mind and it just made so much sense that I was thinking maybe he's failing as a musician, so he has to land a regular job as a policeman to keep with the bills and raising a brother. Then you mentioned a probable band in downtown and I started imagining him having a day job as a policeman and going after music gigs to try to build a career where he could fill himself with friends and women. What else could he want? He does strike me as a more irresponsible brother in comparison to Ray, so I can see that even the job as intelligence guy or potential policeman being a way to deflect his brother's complaining that he ain't helping with the bills. Maybe when the younger brother moves to college and he no longer has to support him, he would turn all of his efforts towards music. Who knows? That's a very plausible thought, actually. And I could really see that happening between the brothers, that Ray is complaining about Dominic's lack of effort, you know. Young Nolan is more of a blank slate to me, although he strikes me as a car guy. With all the celebrities in town, he could make quite a lot of money from a car dealership, especially luxury cars, but I guess there's still a lot of time to get to know him. Yeah, indeed. And I think that that might be something that he is aiming for, but you never know what's going to happen down the line, so let's see. I bet that he's going to want to own nice sport cars anyway. As a whole, I also wondered a bit about why they are there. Are the parents dead, or just like really bad parents that the older brothers ran away from and took the younger brother along when they could? Either way, I guess that they made it to downtown because Ray already had a job and opportunity there as an athlete, and they needed the stability. Also helps that Dominic would enjoy being around all the famous people like that. Yes, indeed. So I think that, we can really combine these two ideas into one whole, and that being that their parents were involved in crime in some way and that they got caught by the police and that they moved to downtown together to build a better life for themselves, basically. I think that that makes sense. And it's also very probable that Ray was less involved with his parents' crime than Dominic was. I guess maybe Ray was a little bit distant from the family, and that he focused a lot on, the sports activities and his friends and things like that, and that the younger brothers got more involved with the family in his absence. So maybe that led to Ray having more connections that helped him actually move away from the family, whereas Dominic and Nolan were more stuck where they were. All right, so moving along, the Miller sisters. Lily and Rose share their interest in eating healthy and exercising. Their mother is too sick to look after Rose at the moment, so Lily took her in. So we have Lily Miller, who is a popularity knowledge sim. She has the games, music, and fitness hobbies. So she actually has quite a lot of hobbies. She, seems like she's focusing a lot on her free time and doing a lot of fun things. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the intelligence career, but she's currently in the law career. And she seems to have expensive taste, I felt like she wants someone to dote on her, buy her expensive gifts and such things, and she wants to have expensive clothes and be dolled up and look nice, She also appears to be ambitious. She has a lot going on simultaneously. So I think that also adds on to the expensive tastes, that maybe she wants to reach a lot of goals herself to be able to buy nice things for herself. She currently seems to be interested in Dominic Gray. Let's see what happens. And she loves going out and loves food. So I guess that she would really have like a clique of friends that she wants to go out and eat out with and party with. She wants a lot of friends because she seems to be feeling lonely easily. So I guess she's pretty extroverted in that way. And then we have Rose, who is a romance sim. She is interested in fitness and art. She is currently in the slacker career. She loves pink, and she is into healthy eating, and she is also a vegetarian, and she is a yoga enthusiast. So I guess she's a little bit similar to her sister in some ways, because they're both sort of health freaks, like they're rubbing up on each other. But Rose is definitely more into that whole fitness aspect of it. I thought with 2 sims in the intelligence career in this town, it is possible that there is something going on. It looks like a place that could house mafias and casinos or something. There has to be some kind of secret or conspiracy. Maybe the Chikor fire wasn't that much of an accident or something, because it looks like we are getting an FBI kind of thing going on. Yes, I agree. It sort of turned out like that, didn't it? I had not planned for it to be that way, but yes, for sure. Of course, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the Chikor family going on from the start. That is true. But the fact that there are so many Sims wanting to be involved in resolving mysteries, and it appears some have been burnt in trying to resolve some things. Also, it's really interesting how the story just wrote itself, I feel like. I imagine her either trying to become a personal trainer or a fitness celebrity. That's about Rose. And I think that makes sense, actually. I could see her wanting to become famous in some kind of way. Definitely. Maybe the parent of the teen was offered a job at another country, and the teen didn't want to move, so they asked to go live with the older sibling instead. That could be like a more positive twist to like how Rose ended up living together with Lily, because Lily really was planning out her adult life, and I think that she was really looking forward to being out on her own and having her own apartment and just starting to build her life, and then her sister just came and ruined everything. But I think that I'm actually gonna go with their mother being sick, so she can't look after her. I think I've sort of settled on that in my mind, and I'm having a hard time just reverting from that, so I'm just going to stick to it at this point. Lily's main and secondary aspirations are a fun mix, and I can see these aspects of her being complementary towards each other. Since Lily seems multi-talented and has a broad set of interests, can imagine her having fun learning more skills and meeting and learning from others who either have these talents too or different ones from her. Yeah, for sure. And I can really see her, looking down on people who don't have a lot of things going for them. Like she's being quite hard on herself and having a lot of demands of being successful. And then that's probably spilling over onto other people as well. That she is putting in a lot of efforts to reach a lot of different goals. And then when she meets people who don't have the same ambition, she kind of don't want to associate with them, I guess. So she could be a bit judgmental, I guess. Being on the grouchy side, I can see her bragging about all the things that she can do too. Yeah, for sure. And I can see Rose and Lakshmi enjoying painting together and being supportive of each other on their romances. Maybe Rose helps Lakshmi unwind from any date-related stress with yoga, and Lakshmi can help Rose with her hair and the makeup. I really love that. I really look forward to seeing the teenagers interact more and see what friends are starting to pop up. I think that so far Lakshmi has made quite a lot of friends actually in the neighborhood, but Rose hasn't made as many, I don't think so. We're gonna have to see. I don't know why, but I'm envisioning them being a little bit of an it girls type of people. They remind me too much of Mean Girls. Yeah, I see it. Probably bullying others and being really into what they eat and to stay thin. They also gave me the vibes of someone that comes from money, like their parents were rich and they moved to downtown to live the party life and meet the right people to start their careers. So in some way, I think they are opposite to Lakshmi and their sister. Yeah, I can see that being the case, actually. Just because their mother is too sick to care for Rose, it doesn't mean that they came from nothing, They could have been wealthy, and that could also be... I mean, if she is ill, it is possible that a lot of their money went to medical bills and that they don't have a lot left. It could also be the case that they were wealthy back when they were living with their father, but that their mother ended things and they sort of left him, and then that they have lived a less luxurious life after that point. And then they had to spend basically all their money on the hospital bills, and that's landed them in this current situation. And that's why Lily wants to rebuild their family, basically. I think that would make a lot of sense. Then we have the Walter family. Jessica lived most of her life alone, burying herself in work. After she finally had Orion, he became her entire world. So Jessica Walter is a family fortune sim. She has the nature and art hobbies. Her lifetime wish is to have 6 grandchildren. That's a bit sad because I guess she's never going to reach that lifetime wish, but yeah, there you go. She's in a medicine career and she is bisexual or asexual. I think I added in the asexual trait to her. So she's not really going to be that interested in the physical part of a relationship, but I could definitely see her looking for a companion for the emotional aspects, someone to share her life with, because she's going to be lonely quite soon with her son moving away at university. So yeah, she loves art and she's an art collector. So all of her walls in her house are completely covered in paintings. And that's something that she, really loves, finding new pieces, I think. She has worked her way up. So I don't think that she started out wealthy, but that she's really saved a lot and made smart decisions and worked really hard to be where she is right now. She likes being busy and doing good, and I think that is going to keep her in the medical career for quite a while before she eventually maybe retires. Let's see what happens. And then we have Orion, who is a pleasure sim. He is interested in music, fitness, and nature. So another one who has quite a lot of interests. And I guess that growing up pretty privileged has allowed him to focus a lot on his interests. He is currently in the culinary career. So he is doing something to learn more about the workforce, even though he doesn't really need to work. He is spoiled and pampered, but looks after his mother in return. So that is something that I actually noticed as I was sitting down to watch the episode. I think I spoke a lot about him being spoiled and his mother being like a helicopter mom looking after him. But I could really notice quite a few moments actually when he was looking after her and taking the time to spend time with her. So yeah, I think that it really goes both ways. He has put on a tough facade after being bullied. And yeah, that was something that I theorized about, combining his personality with the way that he dresses himself. And then he also appeared to prefer practical things to theoretical things. He seemed really upset having to sit down to do his homework, and I looked at his personality as well, and he was like really active and playful, but yeah, it seems like he might have a difficult time focusing when he's just sitting down and doing theory, you know. Jessica reminds me of Jennifer Burb. She's been single all her life because she's been dedicated to the medical career, so she sees her patients as her family. That's actually a really interesting parallel, I think. If you haven't watched my Pleasant You series, I am playing Jennifer Pleasant because I have had her break up with John pretty early on, and then she has sort of dedicated herself to running the hospital in Pleasant View. So that's very much a similar situation, I think, only that after having had Lucy, Jennifer never had any more children, and she didn't really have a relationship with Lucy, whereas Jessica has really hyper-focused on her son. So I think that if Jessica would have not had Orion or not raised him, that it would have been a very, very similar situation, that she has extended her family wants to her patients in that way, for sure. I feel like Jessica is a very protective mother, always pestering Orion about whether or not anyone picked on him at school, going so far as to threaten to turn up at the principal's office and demand that the issue gets straightened out with quickness and haste. That's actually really funny because she is friendly with the principal in town, Warren Landry, and she is colleagues, of course, with his wife. So just imagining her showing up at his house, you know, knocking on the door and demanding an explanation is pretty funny. And while I'm sure Orion finds it annoying how much his mother clings to him, I know he'll come to appreciate it more as he grows older. Yeah, definitely. I know that you mentioned that the kids wouldn't know who their father is, but do you think that would apply to all of them? I feel like there are some children whose parents would be ashamed given the man's reputation and never tell a soul, and some would reveal the truth to their kids with nothing more than a casual shrug. It's a good point. Like I said, I do have some very specific plans about that, and I think that for different families there are different ways that this has happened. And I do think actually it's a good point that maybe not all of them are unaware. I do have plans. I'm going to go into this a little bit later, but I do think that one of the mothers is aware, actually, but not the others for a specific reason. More about that later. We have the Landry and the Raha family. Celeste and Christy met at uni studying biology together. After graduating, they stuck together and became roommates. So Celeste Landry is a Fortune family sim. She's interested in film and literature and culinary. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the oceanography career, but she's currently in the political career. She is a climate activist and an animal friend, so she currently has fishes, but nothing else. But I do think that she could potentially have like a lot of pets down the line. She is ambitious. She pushes herself to thrive in politics, even though she's not an argumentative person. So I think that I looked at her personality actually, and she was like shy and nice. So like opposite to what I would imagine a politician being. But she has pushed herself to join that field for the moment, at least, to, you know, do something that she believes in. So she's very strongly opinionated and ambitious and driven. She writes novels to get out her frustrations about how she wants to change the world. And then we have Christy, who is a family romance sim. She's interested in tinkering and art. Her lifetime wish is to reach golden anniversary. She is employed in the medicine career. And I was actually starting her out being interested in toy making. So I added in a toy making station, squishing it in a very awkward place in that apartment. And I didn't really think about it as I was playing, but while I was sitting rewatching the episode, it really rubbed me the wrong way. It didn't feel right at all. So I've been thinking quite a lot about this, and I've actually decided to scrap the toy making idea and change it out for a drafting table. Now, the drafting table normally actually just gives arts and crafts hobby enthusiasm, and while that is also an interest of hers, I wanted it to have something to do with tinkering as well. And actually, there is a cool mod by Bile that makes it so that one part of the drafting table provides tinkering, hobby enthusiasm, and mechanical skill instead of creativity. And then the rest still gives arts, hobby, and creativity. So there's a few different versions of this mod that you can get, but I got that version. So I'm really excited to plop that down instead. And I actually got some really nice default replacements by Pineapple Forest as well that I think is gonna suit the apartment way better. So Christy enjoys running and swimming, so she is quite an active sim. And I also theorized that once she is going swimming, she can really drag Celeste with her, even though she is not really that interested in working out, because it has to do with water, you know. It's like that's the one thing that she can get her to do. And she's friends with Trista Phelps. I came to watch this after watching Dante and Abhijit's round, and since I'm only 6 minutes in, I don't know if you did it or considered doing it, but you could always put in the hopeless romantic trait in Christy's inventory if you decide she's looking for the right partner. And that's a really, really good point. Since she has the lifetime wish to reach golden anniversary, and she's just secondary romance, I think it makes a world of sense that she would be a hopeless romantic, that she's just looking for her one true love, you know. With her love of ocean and job in politics, she does seem like a person who would be really passionate about marine conservation. Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's gonna dedicate her life to that, I think, in some different ways. Maybe not in politics all her life, but yeah, there's probably different options for that down the line. I think an aquarium could be on the waterfront of downtown and fit the oceanography career that way. That's a really good point, and that's actually a pretty fun community lot that I could imagine building, as mentioned, down by the water here. Possibly, yeah, for sure. It would be fun to explore that, and if it is some kind of aquarium, it would be interesting to, you know, make that a dating spot or something as well. I can really visualize what that would look like with probably utilizing pools with the windows in them, possibly. Yeah, it would be a fun lot to build for sure. I feel like exploring environmental activism could be a really fun story for Celeste. Maybe she could run charity events to raise money for whales. Yeah, I mean, definitely. There are a lot of different ways that she could try to do that. I mean, she's in politics now, but she could also go into journalism or more into activism in some way, hosting different events as mentioned here. Like, I don't know how that would work exactly, but maybe she could host parties at official buildings or something. I'm not sure, but it would be interesting to explore. Your explanation of Celeste going into politics to stand for what she believes is a really nice angle, and I can totally see that for her. I'm definitely getting some teacher vibes from Christy. She and Ray might actually be really cute together, by the way. Yeah, definitely. He was briefly in the education career, and yeah, I can really see teacher for Christy as well. That's very true. If not a library or a zoo, maybe some sort of small sea life exhibit lot, or maybe combined with a swimming pool. That might also give some more options for some of the oceanography careers. I have also combined the more research-oriented ones for that career with the science facility, and I think that works really well also. It is a good point, and like there could be some sort of research part if I do make an aquarium down the line. The lot could be several things at once. Then we have the Custers. The Custers are old money and well known in certain circles. Vamsi has built her own empire on the shady side of the family's good reputation, but she's done everything to keep her daughter out of it. So Vamsi is a fortune family sim. She's interested in tinkering and music. Her lifetime wish is to earn 100,000 simoleons, and she's in the criminal career. I said I didn't want any sims in the criminal career, but here we are. She's friends with Jessica Walter. She is cold and ruthless, unless it's family. She is smuggling stolen art and exotic goods. And then her daughter Swan is a pleasure sim. She is interested in music and sports. She is in the athletic career, but I'm kind of treating that like after school activities like lacrosse or something. She is bisexual. She is friends with Orion Walter, Lauren Wilson, and Lakshmi Phelps. She is raised to be ruthless, and she's loyal to her mother, keeping her secrets. So I was sort of thinking about whether she would be in on this secret or not, and I sort of landed on that she would have to be, because how could her mother hide that from her and still be so close with her? That wouldn't make any sense. So she's just keeping quiet about what she knows. I like to think Vamsi is old money because she shares her last name with one of the main streets in downtown, Custer Boulevard. Maybe her family was instrumental in building up downtown. That is such a great point, and I hadn't thought about that until I read this comment, so thank you so much for shouting that out, actually. And also a comment on that comment. Did we have Custer's Market in Old Town from Sims 1 as well? And yes, indeed, we did. So the Custers appear to actually be an old Sims family, ironically enough. I love how that just turned out to be the case, naturally like this. So yes, for sure. It is an old family, and the lore supports it as well. I can see Swan being the popular girl in school, and I really hope she goes steady with a girl. Her friendship with Lakshmi suits her really well. I think they would be best friends in the end. I can see Swan also being rebellious, but she's a little scared of her mother because of the criminal job, so she doesn't let her mom know about anything she does outside of their house. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually, that Swan would be a little bit apprehensive about upsetting her mother, and she wants to... Like, she's very, very careful around Vamsi and does everything the way that she wants her to. But then she's also rebellious on the side of that. And there was actually, I think when I was playing the Anderson twins, that I observed that Swan was just walking up to people and basically attacking them. So she seems to be a bit of a bully in some ways. Maybe she's taking out her frustrations from keeping her mother's secret on just being nasty to people. We're gonna have to see. Perhaps Vamsi is selling poorly made household appliances, or maybe even stolen cars. Her hobby is tinkering, after all. That's true. I did decide to go with the exotic goods and art, because that just ties together more with, you know, the whole business aspect of downtown as it has sort of developed. But it's definitely a great idea that it could have been more tinkering related things. For Swan, I could definitely see her as a future rock god or something. Yes, I think that Swan really fashions herself a future rock god, and she is probably gonna try to aim for that for sure. So let's see what Vamsi has to say about that. Swan kind of reminds me of Meadow Soprano because of her parents being involved in criminal activities. In The Sopranos, Meadow knows about her father being a mob boss, and she does her best not to disclose that to anyone else, though deep down she is suffering because of his life choices. That's a really clever parallel. I haven't watched Sopranos, but I mean, from the description, it really does sound pretty much like what's going on here as well. And yeah, as I mentioned, I think that there is quite a lot of frustration that Swan is experiencing and that she's taking out on others. And she is suffering in some way, having this heavy weight on her shoulders. And I think there's quite a lot of worry for her mother as well because of what could happen to her if this ever got out, you know? It might be fun if their old money family got rich partially from illegal activities like smuggling and embezzlement and blackmail. Vamsi could be an art smuggler. I mean, yes, that could definitely be part of the Custer wealth, that the reason why Vamsi was comfortable doing all this is that she's not alone in the family, that this is actually something that has been going on in different parts. Possibly that they're sort of combining legal activities with illegal ones to stay out of sight, you know? And yes, for sure, Vamsi is going to be an art smuggler. That's set in stone at this point now. In a city with these high-rise buildings, I can't shake the feeling that these kinds of smuggling would happen. Rich people love laundering money and evading taxes with art. Yes, that's true. I can see Vamsi wanting to keep a somewhat low profile to not draw too much attention for her business. And then comes her daughter wanting to become a music superstar and draw all of the spotlight towards their money. Yes, that could definitely be a problem, and that could be a reason why Vamsi does not allow Swan to pursue a career as a pop star. Perhaps. I am also thinking about like the connection with her family, possibly having other criminal activities going on, and that they're sort of used to navigating sort of the space in between the gray areas. So maybe it's not going to be a problem after all. Maybe that's actually going to draw the right kind of attention to the family so that less attention is put on Vamsi. Maybe. I don't know. Vamsi might know Jessica through her job if she is smuggling art, or as you said, from back in the day. She could also smuggle exotic pets, as the Bengals are quite rare. Yes, indeed. Vamsi could have definitely smuggled in her own cats. There are many options. They might have met John Smith at the ballet, where Lindsay also might have met him, as they are high society ladies. Or he might have been a shady fertility expert, but that makes it strange with Lindsay's story. Yeah. I think that this is something we're gonna get to later as well, but I think that John Smith, Vamsi, and Mr. Big are somehow connected with art rather than ballet, actually. And that is what has drawn them together, having them meet. Vamsi reads as an art smuggler. Yes, indeed. I think it could make for a very interesting story, where she comes from a family of prestigious art critics or gallery owners, something she never really had the greatest interest in besides just appreciating objectively beautiful artwork. I think she got into the smuggling aspect by wanting to cut corners when it came to filling the family's art gallery. But upon seeing how much money she could make into smuggling art herself, alongside selling or displaying stolen or replicated artworks, she just couldn't resist the idea of saving money and making twice as much. Yeah, I mean, that could definitely have been a slippery slope for her, you know, just starting small and then it's just snowballing out of her control into what it is currently, so yes. Likewise, I think that Jessica being so into art, she's become one of Vamsi's favorite buyers, largely because she doesn't do too much digging into the origin of the art she buys and trusts Vamsi implicitly when it comes to the things she buys. After all, why would she suspect Vamsi of selling stolen or smuggled goods? I think that's very true. And I think that if they are friends from back in the day, she wouldn't really question it. She would just be appreciative. As for Swan and Vamsi, I got the feel that Vamsi isn't the type of mother who cares to lie to her daughter about anything. She doesn't seem much wrong with the business she does, or the fact that Swan's father was a married man with enough children to make up a sports team. Poor Swan, though. I'm sure part of her could appreciate any honesty she gets from her mom. But depending on the extent of that honesty, I'm sure there are plenty of things that she wished her mom just never told her about in the first place. I think in some ways, Swan's life would have been very different if she just was kept unaware of this. And I think that it makes a lot of sense that she would wish that that was the case sometimes in weak moments. But yeah, as I said, I don't think that would have been possible to keep this close relationship between mother and daughter and still having her be completely unaware. Then we have the Landrys. Krista and Warren have thriving careers and 2 beautiful daughters. They share their love of games and love going out on dates to play together. Krista is a fortune knowledge sim. She is interested in games and cuisine. Her lifetime wish is to max out 7 skills. She's in the medicine career. She's friends with Jessica Walter, and she prefers sitting quietly with a good book. Whereas Warren is a popularity knowledge sim. He is interested in games and music. His lifetime wish is to own 5 top-level businesses. He's in the education career, and he wants lots of friends, noise, and liveliness. So those 2 things really clash with one another. And yeah, I think that they have to compromise quite a lot. Even though they are really connected through their love of games, they're going out on a lot of dates and gambling together. They are also clashing when it comes to what they do at home. So Krista would really prefer it to be calm and quiet in the evenings, whereas Warren wants to have friends over and play loud music and so on. So I think that there's real potential for strife between them in that way. And then we have their daughter Shahan, who's still living at home. She is a fortune sim, interested in film and literature and music. She is in the medicine career like her mother, and she idolizes her older sister and has made herself into her copy. She's friends with Chikor, and Lakshmi Phelps. So yeah, Shahan doesn't have much of her own personality at the moment, but she's really taken on her sister's character, I guess. A lot of it, at least. And I was theorizing that it could have to do with her sister being so much older than her, that she has really looked up to her and wanted to become like her. It's also very possible with Krista and Warren having been working so much and being so high up in their careers that Celeste has been tasked with basically raising Shahan a little bit as well. There were a lot of nice comments on this video, but no ideas about the family, and I think that makes a lot of sense because this was a really, calm and not very dramatic family at all. Not to outwards appearances anyway. We're going to get to that later. Then we have the Garth family. Chase and Rebecca were old friends from uni who became friends with benefits. Rebecca accidentally got pregnant, so they decided to get married and out of convenience. Rebecca was in debt, and Chase's visa was expiring. They started out as friends, but ended up falling in love. So that's quite sweet. And actually, when I was sitting down and playing them, they started out without any chemistry, but then they built up to 1 bolt. So that was actually really cute. Chase is a popularity romance sim. He has the music hobby. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in culinary, and he is currently a bartender. Rebecca is a pleasure knowledge sim. She is interested in sports, art, and cuisine, so quite a lot of hobbies. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the journalism career, but she's currently in the slacker career. She is heavily in debt, and she is extremely sloppy, so she is one of the slobs in the neighborhood. And they have 2 children. Tiav is one of John Smith's children. He is a pleasure sim. He has the music hobby. He is in the military career, and he's friends with Rose Miller. So that was a pretty unlikely friendship that he struck up, actually. They don't seem to have a lot in common, but they got along really well anyway. And then we have little Travis Garth, who is having the fitness hobby and who seems to be an aspiring astronaut or something. Because I got a funny comment about that, but his mother seems to be preparing him for the G-forces. Excuse me. Regarding John Smith in your hood, I am starting to think for some of the women, he might be a sperm donor instead of a former love interest. Definitely for this family, he would be a former lover, but someone like, I believe Jessica was her name, an older family sim in the medical career, I just don't see her having accidentally had a baby with John Smith or even being his former lover. It would make more sense if she was getting up in age, hadn't found someone to settle down with, and decided to go for IVF using the sperm bank because she really wanted to start a family. It's a really great point, and I think that ties together with what I mentioned earlier, that I can reveal sort of how John Smith has done this and not really why, but yes, for sure. I think that he has been doing this very intensely for a few years. That's why the teenagers are so closely in age, for a very specific reason. And he has used different strategies for different women. Some of them, for sure, have gone through a sperm bank, and Jessica definitely is one of them. But then we also have some other relationships that's been going on. And also some other more seedy stuff that's been happening through the hospital and different injuries. I did mention that the Landrys have been a little bit involved in some stuff as well. And I think that when we look at the older generation in this neighborhood, John Smith, I think, was very close with Krista Landry, who is very, very high up in the medical career. And I think that she played a quite big part in helping him achieve this goal that he had, and helped him affect things in his favor. So when we have Sims such as Lindsay Wilson, for example, who was injured and ended up hospitalized, I think that she ended up becoming pregnant at the hospital, and that it wasn't really to her knowledge. And she just accepted that for whatever reasons that I'm not going to go into. But so yes, for sure, different reasons for different women. And it's all very shady, and there are some reasons behind it. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Episode 10, The Anderson Twins. Justice and Zion grew up working as child actors. Moving to downtown and away from their direct influence of their family has given them more freedom than they've ever had. Justice is a family romance sim who's interested in cuisine and film and literature. His lifetime wish is to graduate 3 children from college. He is gay, and he is in the show business career, of course. Both of the twins are. As I was playing him, he seemed a little less suited to celebrity life than his brother, but I think that overall both of them were actually pretty well suited to this lifestyle. Then we have Zion, who is a knowledge pleasure sim. He's interested in sports, fitness, and games. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in oceanography, so quite surprising actually for a celebrity. And he's of course in the show business career, and he seems to be more ambitious than his brother. And he might be interested in Celeste Landry, since they share a lifetime wish. But we're gonna have to see when they meet what happens. And I got quite a lot of comments on this one. Maybe the twins decided to become their own managers after experiencing independence in college. Their parents were good at management, but were too controlling and wanted the twins to remain on the children's hit sitcom that made them famous since the age of 8. After attaining degrees at Académie Le Tour, the twins moved to downtown to find more grown-up roles and to experience a real adult life. I think that that makes a lot of sense, for sure. If they grew up being part of that kind of sitcom, I can really see that happening, and that they wanted to spread their wings and do things their own way. You could make a studio lot or talent agency for celebrities and their assistants to be at. For sure. I think I'm going to do that. My ideas right now is that the Diva is going to have her own community lot for her own talk show, and that the Anderson twins are probably going to have some sort of a studio lot for... I haven't decided yet if I want it to be photo shoots or for some sort of movie location. I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to have to experiment a little bit with that, I think. I find it very fitting that they have not nearly enough skills for their current job. I read that as they are decent actors at best. They've done it for so many years now, so they have experience and know what they're doing, but they never really wanted to do it and are still so young. The reason they got the high position job is because they're famous already, have a huge fan base and the right connections. From these two and everything we've seen so far, I can see that Zion is the one who maybe wants to put in the work and become a really good actor one day. Yeah, he's the one that I also thought was a little bit more ambitious. So I can definitely see that as well. What I ended up thinking the most about this one is the possible effects of child acting and whether they would want to stay on the job or not. I imagine Justice being a family sim ended up either that kind of celebrity who tries to keep his children safe from public eye, or being the one that pushes them to pursue the career too. It will depend on his personality. That's a fair point. As for Zion, I see knowledge sims as people who dedicate to a craft for passion and not money. So I imagine he either loves the history of cinema and all, or he is one of those celebrities who also happen to have a PhD in physics, like Brian May from Queen. Yeah, that's a good point as well. I mean, money isn't really an issue for them. They have plenty of money, and I think that they're very comfortable in that. I think they would sort of panic if they all of a sudden lost it all. But yeah, I think that if Zion is gonna continue on as a celebrity, he's gonna be out of passion and interest in the field and not just to earn a wage. Justice, the cooking enthusiast, if he leaves the movie business, he still needs some kind of career to finance his lifestyle. I think he would totally use his fame and hobby to start a cooking show. Therefore, he has more time with his family. A movie actor might be too busy. And your idea of a studio lot could also feature a cooking area. He might not only cook and create new dishes, he might also invite people from different cultural backgrounds to cook with him. That could be an idea moving down the line. I don't think it's something that is going to happen at once, but it does make sense if he wants to have something like that doesn't change around a lot. If he's gonna be a family man later on, that he has something like that. I think it's actually possible for both of them to use their family to build up their future careers. Like, for example, Justice can easily open his own restaurant that will be immediately popular due to his owner being a celebrity. Or he can start his own cooking show, staying in show business career, or both even, like Gordon Ramsay does, I guess. Zion is more of a tough one, but if he's going to be friends or lovers with Celeste, she can push him towards politics or influence to open up some kind of sea life study laboratory museum. That's an interesting point, that since Celeste is so like on the political agenda, like she really wants to change things, she could use Zion for her own interests. She is nice and shy, so she's not really the ruthless kind, but if she thinks it's for the greater good, that could actually happen. That's for sure. Then we have the Dalton and Walton family. After Shanna lost her job, she needed a roommate to keep her apartment. That's when Ivy moved in, having just finished at uni. So Ivy Dalton is a fortune pleasure sim. She's interested in fitness and sports. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the intelligence career, but she's currently in the medicine career. She is interested in forensics, and that's something that I actually was inspired from the comment section, coming up with that, but that makes a lot of sense. Friends with Raha. She hates cooking. And her friendship with Raha is something that sort of came from, I think I said that they were the same age, they had the same major, or similar majors at least, and then they are now also colleagues and neighbors. So they seem to be sort of fated to be friends with each other. So that was pretty cute. And then we have Shahan Walton, who is a family fortune sim. She's interested in film and literature and culinary. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in law enforcement. But she's in the political career. So she used to be a cop, but got in trouble with someone powerful and lost her badge. got into politics to make a difference. So something really dramatic happened here. She likes to read and write mystery and crime novels, takes inspiration from what happened to her in her novels. So she's quite similar to Celeste in some ways, that she is in the political career to make a difference because of a burning passion, and that she's taking out her frustrations by writing about it. So I think that they have quite a lot in common. Shahan being a family sim while having fortune as her second aspiration makes quite a lot of sense, especially when taking into account that she has a sister with 3 children and a husband, while being financially stunted. So it makes so much sense that as the younger sister, she admires her sister for having a family, but also has a fear of being in a similar financial situation. I could also see Shanna being good friends with Lily Miller, especially since Lily is very interested in joining the intelligence career track. I think she'd be very interested in hearing Shanna's experience on the force. Who knows, maybe that friendship could lead to a new career path for Shanna if she doesn't go back to the law enforcement career. That's a really good point, actually, that she doesn't necessarily have to become a cop again, and maybe that path is not possible for her anymore because of all that happened. But yeah, she could become a private investigator or something. That would actually fit quite a lot. And I think it's very believable that she'd spend her free time drafting true crime novels, loosely based on her experiences in the police force, while she works in politics. I could definitely see her getting back into the force that way. Something about Shanna screams action. I think she likes the hustle and bustle of being on the police force, and politics is something she's passionate about as a formerly disenfranchised sim, but it's not picture perfect for her long term. Yeah, I think so too, actually. I think that she has a lot of passion for what she was doing, like the work, and that she's very, heartbroken and fired up about the fact that this happened to her, and that is driving her right now, but that she's not really suited for politics, really. I've got a little idea about Ivy, seeing that her lifetime wish is connected to intelligence. What if she's like a medic that works for intelligence forces? The one that looks at crime scenes, clues from medical standpoint, or wants to work as such, like in those police procedural TV series. And similarly to that, I can totally see Ivy as Abby from NCIS, doing the forensic work for the police department or the SCIA. You could use the intelligence level 3 crime scene investigator for her. She might also be interested in tattooing if Lakshmi should have a teacher with medical training or a canvas. So yes, this is where the idea for the forensic work came from, those 2 comments. And it just makes so much sense. It was like, as soon as I read that, it all just sort of mapped out for me. So thank you for that. And yes, it makes a lot of sense for her to have tattoos, I think. So that could definitely be a thing. Then we have Sid Roseland. Sid studied to work in the athletic career, but after acquiring Porthos, his entire life started revolving around dogs. He's now aiming at a career as a dog trainer instead. So he's a knowledge pleasure sim with a fitness hobby. His lifetime wish is to have 50 first dates. He is currently in the athletic career. He is a loner who prefers dogs to humans. He has commitment issues, and I was considering that maybe he would be aromantic. But after rewatching the episode, I realized it really doesn't make any sense with his lifetime wish to have 50 first dates. That's all about the romance, right? So, no, I won't be going with that for him, actually. But he's still going to be a loner with commitment issues. And he dislikes cooking, so he's going to be more likely to order out than actually sit down to cook something. I like the doggy daycare idea, or like a training socialization class multiple pets go to. He could definitely work his way up through dog sitter and walker stuff on an individual basis. Yeah, for sure. Some kind of trainer, for sure. He currently lives in a really, really tiny apartment, so he wouldn't be able to have like a daycare scenario at home, at least. But I have been considering maybe I should move him out into his own house in order for actually to have enough space for something like that. and to be able to take in strays and things like that. So yeah, let's see. Oh, the drama major and fitness enthusiasm makes me think that he could be a professional stuntman who specializes in dog training for cop movies like Commissar Rex or something. I love this so much. And I think that makes so much sense, actually, a lot more than the athletic career for him. So I think that I'm actually gonna either aim for searching for a job in the show business career for him, or just simply change it out next time I play, because this just makes so much sense. And there is a career level for a body double, I'm pretty sure I saw. I was looking for like the stuntman level, but I think that that is actually from the Sims 1 version of the show business career. So that's probably where I've seen it. But the body double is still there, I'm pretty sure. I would maybe have Sid adopt in strays, train them and sell them, as well as maybe training dogs for the neighbors. That could be fun too. I agree. And that's actually something that from this comment I started up in one of the later episodes as well, that he was supposedly adopting in that dog Moody that the Raha family got later. So that's something that I am going to pursue for him, that he's going to be picking up strays from the streets, rehabilitate them, and then sell them to a proper family later on. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if you use custom careers, but there's a Sims 1 to Sims 2 animal care career. That's interesting. That's something that I could look into if I want. But now I've actually decided on the stuntman thing, I think. There's so many different ways one could go about this. Maybe I should look into that custom career as well, just to see what it's all about. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. An animal shelter rehabilitating animals with behavioral issues to make them adoptable, maybe? I guess then the other Sims could adopt them already housebroken and non-destructive. Yes, indeed. For sure. And I think that that could start out with him having like one dog at a time, and then maybe he progressively gets more and more as this develops into something bigger. Maybe. Let's see what happens. I have to pace myself a little bit as well, because I only have so many families and I can't just dish out dogs all over the place. So I think I have to just try to pace myself there. We had the Toyonaga-Creelman family. Ash was hyper-focused on making it to the top of the political career. After having a midlife crisis, he switched gears and put all efforts into building a family instead. Carrie was a young lover of his who moved in after becoming pregnant with twins. And that's, of course, Aisha and Dagmar. So we have Ash, who is a family romance sim. He has the sports hobby, and his lifetime wish is to marry off 6 children. He's in the political career, like really, really high up, I think level 9 or something like that. He loves golf, and he's a workaholic fortune sim who had a midlife crisis and turned into a family sim. And then we have Carrie, who is a knowledge romance sim. She has the tinkering hobby, and her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the intelligence career. And she's actually in the intelligence career as well. She only just got that career. She started out in the culinary career, and then at the end of the episode, she changed career tracks. She had a top with tattoos on from the start that I had to change her out of. But I think that that could be something that she'd be interested in getting down the line as well. And previous to this, she has put her career and her dreams on hold because of all the pregnancies. So that's something that she desperately wants to change around now. And she's going to demand a lot more support from her husband. Or well, not husband, her boyfriend, I guess, because they're not married. And then we have Aisha, who is a fortune sim. And she has the music and games hobbies. We have Dagmar, who is a popularity sim, and that was really fitting that she randomly got the popularity one, because she turned out to be really, really sociable before that, so that was really nice. And she's interested in sports and games. We have Victor, who is interested in games and music. And then we have the first baby in the neighborhood, the newborn Eric. And right now, all of the children are named Toyonaga after their mother, but after rewatching the episode and taking the family history into account, I just felt like that doesn't make any sense, actually. Even if Carrie and Ash aren't married, I really feel like Ash would insist on naming his children after himself. So I'm actually going to go ahead and change out all of the children's last names to Creelman instead of Toyonaga. Victor playing on his sister's violin a lot makes me imagine that he's trying to do violin cover songs of music from his favorite video games. Yeah, that could definitely be the case. I think I was talking about the fact that this family probably has pushed their children to take a lot of different creative classes, and that's why all of them are sort of interested in and good at playing instruments. So that could definitely be the case, that's what Victor is doing with his skills, playing video game music. I know why the intelligence career is so popular in this town. Reminds me of Totally Spies and the building where the agency was located. Downtown has a lot of high-rise building as well. Many Sims live here, so it's a good place for a spy headquarters. Plus, employees can easily go undercover. I think that's a very neat idea. And there's definitely some sort of, I don't know, I guess it could be a spy headquarters. It would make a lot of sense with all of the mysteries going on, that there's like the more official part of the job in the intelligence career, but then also something more unofficial, maybe connected to law enforcement, that there's some undercover spies there as well. That's possible. Then we have the Cosmicos family. Sadie is a free spirit and has always allowed Patrick a lot of freedom. Actually, to the point that he's almost taking on the parental role in some ways. That's something that I kind of noticed as I was rewatching that episode as well. So Sadie is a romance pleasure sim. There's actually another romance sim. So I guess it's Sadie and Dominic then, who are romance sims from the adults. She's interested in cuisine and games. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the game career, but she's currently in the law enforcement career. She dreams of creating her own video game, and she is a recovering serial romantic who has promised her son to take a break from dating. Let's see how long that lasts. And then we have Patrick, who is a pleasure sim. He is interested in games and science, and he's also in the law enforcement career, actually. He is friends with Rose Miller, and he is annoyed at his mother for her dating habits, but he also wants to start dating himself. So, yes, that's also something that I noticed from sitting down to watch this episode, that even though he has been really, really harsh on his mother and trying to make her focus on her dreams of creating a video game rather than just jumping from guy to guy and inviting strange men over to their apartment, that he himself rolls a lot of wants for going on dates. Actually, so much so that he decides to kiss random boys on the street, you know? Well, I mean, it doesn't start well. That's actually gonna make things worse. Okay. When she's working on her game, aka writing novels or articles, you could have it be she's earning money from Kickstarter or Patreon by writing logs and sharing updates on her progress. That's a good point. That could really explain why she's gonna be earning money while she's just working on the game, because that's what I'm gonna do with her. I'm gonna have her try to create her own video game. About the video game Sadie is creating, maybe you could use one of the in-game games, like the one she has been playing as her game. So the other households can't buy it until she has gained level 10 in the game career. I think that is a really, really neat idea. And yeah, the Sims start out with just SSX3 on their computers, of course. And for sure, I could have them all wait with buying any other computer games until Sadie has actually reached that goal. And then the game that I pick is going to be available for them. So then, yeah, maybe I can set up a video game store and have some of them go out to buy that new game, you know. It'd be quite fun. I love how seriously Sadie takes the advice from her son, with calming down from dating so much. Even if Patrick is only a teenager, I can really see how Sadie fosters him like a manager rather than a dictator. Yeah, for sure. If you need another stepping stone for Sadie's job, you could use some of the levels in the Slacker career, like freelance web designer at level 9. That's also a really great point. She is in the law enforcement career right now, and as she's working on her game, and if she wants to like go all in on it, that could be a good first step, because the different levels in the game's career is so strange. Yeah, they don't really feel like what I'm going for. So yeah, the Slacker career could really work better in that way. That's a good advice. Then we have the Walton family. Grayson and Gretchen met and fell in love back when life was still bright and hopeful. Then 3 tragedies struck. First, Gretchen got pregnant with someone else. Despite the thorn in his side, Grayson forgave her and they moved on. But then, Grayson got injured and had to give up on his dreams, and so became depressed. Finally, Gretchen's sister was framed and lost her badge, which killed the optimistic spark in Gretchen's eye. Now they are a pair of poor, scared, and worn losers trying to make ends meet while their love is drawing its last breath. So, yes, I did realize that this is a very, very dark, tragic, and sad family, as it looks right now. And especially when it comes to Grayson, I think I have to be very, very careful about making this like rock bottom for him. Because if I push it like one step further, I'm really, really scared of the dark themes that my mind is going to come up with. So I think that I'm gonna have to try to twist this to something more positive as I'm playing this family. But something that was really interesting while sitting down to watch this was actually that the family kind of reminded me of the kind of families that I've seen portrayed in the Korean dramas. And I felt like Kestrel was like the heroine in one of those drama series. And then she has this really strange, kooky family around her. But yeah, so Grayson is a pleasure family sim. He is interested in sports and culinary. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the Slacker career. And he's actually in the Slacker career, so that is good. He has a good start there. He is an aspiring athletic star who had an injury, putting a stop to his dreams. And that's something that I got from the comments, actually. He is extremely sloppy and clumsy. Extremely. Like, I think that there were 3 different times when he broke things in the apartment, like during the same day. And in the end, the landlord had to come over to fix things so many times that he's sort of like hitting his fist walking to the apartment. So he is really risking making enemies of his landlord at this rate. But yeah, so he has dabbled in crime and got in trouble for it. And he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And what I mean about that is that he tried to play games on a broken TV, and then straight after that, he rolled a want to learn how to make sandwiches. He keeps trying to play even though the TV is broken. Well, I guess he can cook dinner. He wants to learn how to make some sandwiches. So I don't really think that he's that intelligent, really. But he has a lot of heart, I think. He means really, really well. We have Gretchen, who is a fortune romance sim. She's interested in art and sports. Her lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the Slacker career as well, actually. So the two of them had that in common. She is in the athletic career, though, but she's really neglecting that job. She is a wannabe celebrity, and she is not really wanting to work as an athlete at all. She hates putting in effort. She wants to basically just be a celebrity party guest who can walk around and be served and not really have to do that much. She's upset with her sister for putting herself in harm's way, and that has really shaped her, I think. I think that actually, ironically enough, Gretchen has been more affected negatively by what happened to Shanna than Shanna has been. Shanna has really risen to the occasion and almost like in a heroic effort to better things, join the political career to make a change, whereas Gretchen, I think, has been traumatized by that and is really fearful for and upset with her sister for, putting herself in harm's way, as I said, and for not backing down and just letting things lie. We have Kestrel, who is a pleasure sim. She's interested in fitness and art, and she is currently in a military career, but that's not going to stick at all. And what she likes doing with her fitness hobby is calisthenics, I think. That's something that I sort of realized as I was rewatching this, that I bought this exercise mat for her where she does like push-ups and sit-ups and so on. And I guess that just means that she is into calisthenics. And we have Amin, who is a knowledge sim. He's interested in film and literature and sports. And lastly, we have little Tina, who is interested in games and sports. So it's quite a sporty family, actually, all things considered. My first thought was that Grayson could have been a promising star on his high school or college sports team, but had a career-ending injury that threw off his path in life. I think Gretchen probably had a massive crush on him when he was in his prime and stuck by with the hopes that he would recover and still have a chance at a career as a professional athlete, but he never did. And as a romance sim, she decided to stick around with him because she does care for him, despite the fact that the attraction died out ages ago. I could see that she hooked up with a mysterious stranger while with Grayson and ended up pregnant with Kestrel, but Grayson has no idea and genuinely believes Kestrel is his daughter. Perhaps Shanna, with all her interest in mysteries, isn't as convinced, and that's been another thing her and her sister disagree about, plus Gretchen disagreeing with her career path and the trouble it's caused. I think that these are really, really great points, and for sure, I think that Grayson was a promising athlete. Gretchen stuck onto him and wanted a part of his fame. That all makes sense. But she was seeing other people as well, got pregnant, but I do think that Grayson is aware of that fact. But on the other hand, I do think that they have kept that secret, that Kestrel doesn't know that either, and that they haven't told Shanna either. But for sure, it's a really great point that Shanna could be suspicious about it and that has created some strife between the sisters as Gretchen is trying to keep it secret, whereas Shanna wants her to just confess, So it really makes sense. Grayson gives me failed athlete with his former personality points. Tragic stuff. It's really tragic, I agree. But it does make a lot of sense. I think Grayson could definitely have been a rising star in some kind of sports-related career, but he got injured and his career ended. I don't know why, but I'm envisioning him as a man who came from a poor family and he tried during his teen and young adult years to survive as best as he could, doing various jobs, mostly illegal ones, envisioning a better future for himself. In fact, rather than football or athletics, I could definitely see him being part of illegal boxing matches. In my opinion, these kinds of situations are surrounded by sketchy things like drugs and making money easily by betting, and this could be related to his interest in crime. That's a really good point. I actually did put in a boxing bag at the back of his house. So, I mean, that could definitely be the kind of sports career that he was aiming for, boxing. And it does make a lot of sense then that there was a lot of criminal activity going on surrounding that, for sure. However, after yet another boxing match, he got injured and all his hopes were crushed and he became depressed. As for Gretchen, maybe she was a boxing ring girl in her university years and this job was a way to make money and meet people who could help her become someone, some sort of socialite. Then she met Grayson, who seemed on the path to a sparkling career, and she thought that this was her occasion. Yes. I mean, for sure. She would have had to be involved in that scene in some way, of course. And I guess that this all started out at university and then they stuck together with this. So something like that must have happened. Things got bad, they broke up, and she initiated a relationship with a much more influential man already married, who couldn't care less about her and her dreams. He was just using her. She became pregnant, and not knowing what to do, she made Grayson believe that the baby was his. Then they got married and had 2 other children. In the end, I think Grayson in particular should definitely have another chance in life. Yeah, as I said, I think this is a really, really important point, that I need to make sure that Grayson gets a second chance and that things look up for him, because things could really end very darkly otherwise. As for her involvement with John Smith, I think there's a lot of mystery surrounding that, something that's led Gretchen to not being aware really who he is and what happened. For her story, I haven't developed that part completely yet, but I think it's going to be related to the hospital visits that she had to take with Grayson in some way, because that was part of where things were going down. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. Then we have the Divas episode. Cara started out as a young and optimistic artist, aiming for a career as a pop star. Life took her to the heights of fame, and she's currently a renowned talk show host. Despite her success, she's very lonely. Finding good friends is something she yearns for, but finding people one can trust is far from easy. She is a Fortune popularity sim. She's interested in culinary and music. Her lifetime wish is to have 20 best friends. She is bisexual. She is in the show business career at level 10, like she's maxed out. She used to be very active and nicer, but fame has made her self-absorbed. She has worked her way up to the top. She is single because of her fame. She has trust and time issues. And she has 3 bolts with Mr. Big. And that is something that I was theorizing about, how that had been going on. And I've landed on the story that they were going out, seeing each other, but the things were not working out because of her with time issues and also her trust issues, and the fact also that Mr. Big didn't really want all of the attention that Cara is getting constantly whenever she's going anywhere. He really wanted to have more of a private relationship and private life, and he was not going to be able to have that with Cara. So for different reasons, even though I think that they have fallen in love and that they are in love with each other, there are things that are keeping them apart. But I do think that I want to kick up an affair between them in some ways. So that's something that I'm gonna look into. I was thinking maybe she had a show like Wendy Williams with a section of her talking to the camera or audience about celebrity gossip, and then one section where she could cook a meal or mix a drink or interview a guest. That's a really good point, and I think that a talk show is like perfect for her, and having different segments in it is also a really good idea, especially with her primary hobby being culinary as well. Cara has been hosting a late night show called Late Night with Cara for over a decade. On her show, she interviews other celebrities and have cooking, games, and nightclub segments. During one of her nightclub trips, she met Remington. Things quickly became spicy between them, but Remington pulled back from Cara because of heightened rumors about his strange tree home. Knowing of Cara's high-level fame, Remington didn't want to draw more attention to himself and limited their relationship to phone calls only. Yeah, I mean, I think that ties together with his desire for privacy, you know? They could definitely be where they met, that she was doing a segment on some sort of nightclub or maybe his business or something, and that's where they met. I feel like the diva will have a kid in the future. I do too. I definitely think that she wants to have a kid in some way. I think the story with her and Remington would be that they used to be together and then broke up and might get back together again. Who knows? I think of like J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Yeah, I think that they have a past and that they still are in love with each other. So it's going to be fun to explore that. I think of her like a Kardashian. I don't know if she's nice enough to be a talk show host, but I can see her sitting around gossiping about people and going to parties. That's a good point. She is really, really grouchy. I think that she has like no nice points at all at this point. So yeah, she really has to put on a mask to be the talk show host, but I guess that she would be the kind of person who is really different on screen than she is off screen. That she's someone who's like screaming and wants to have her way and bossing people around and so on. So that could be the case. Since she likes cuisine, maybe she hosts a lunch talk show, like having lunch with Mirtha Legrand. Perhaps it's not cooking, but tasting flavorful dishes that she's after in her spare time. I mean, that could also be interesting, like if she has a cooking segment in her talk show that she could be inviting over chefs to cook for her instead. That would actually make a lot of sense as well. All right, another big one, the Chikor family. Frikorith and Vodwan's entire family was killed in a sudden fire. They are coping with the loss in different ways. Frikorith is seeking comfort from friends, whereas Vodwan has dedicated herself to solving the mystery. Remington, their godfather, and his young wife Raynell have moved in to look after them and the Chikor fortune. So we have Remington Ninja, Mr. Big, who is a fortune romancer. He is interested in sports. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the art career. He is a businessman. He has some sort of art business, and I think I made him a CEO. He likes sports cars. He's friends with Warren and Krista Landry, so I think that especially this friendship with Krista is coming from his friendship with John Smith as well. Like they have moved in the same circles and that they have really grown close. He wants to have an affair with Cara Livingston. They had something on and off that they couldn't make work, so he ended up marrying Raynell in order to start a family. He was close with John Smith and he knows everything about the family secrets, and he's sworn to secrecy. So he is completely aware of all of the reasons behind why John Smith did what he did and everything else that the family has kept secret. So he knows everything that's like going on in the basements and everything as well. So yeah, that's something that he's holding close to his heart and that he's keeping secret from the cousins as well for now. I think that the plan is probably that he's gonna tell them when they grow older. We have Raynell Ninja, who is a popularity family sim. She's interested in science and music. Her lifetime wish is to earn 100,000 simoleons, so she's really a gold digger. She's interested in pseudoscience. So she is kind of she's working as a medium and she likes like telling people's fortunes and speaking to spirits and all of that kind of thing. Hocus pocus. She is friends with Vamsey Custer and Cara Livingston. So the friendship with Vamsey is really that she has been scheming with her to get the Chikor fortune by marrying Remington and having the Chikor family killed. It wasn't the plan that the cousins would survive though, so she hasn't really reached that goal of hers. And she also wants a baby as soon as possible to lock herself in to secure that money. So she has a lot of devious plans here. And I think that she is pretty naive and innocent, all things considered, that maybe she hasn't really fully realized the implications of what she's done. But that Vamsey has really manipulated her to her own means. We have Frikorith, who is a popularity sim. He's interested in film and literature. He's friends with Shahan, Landry, Lakshmi Phelps, and Rose Miller. And he appears to be more comfortable around women, because so far he's only made friends with girls. And I think that that really speaks to him being more comfortable around like his mother and his cousin and so on. Maybe he's just used to having more female friends around ever since being a young child. Vaudoin is a fortune sim, and she's interested in science. She is bisexual, and she is in the business career. She wants to solve the mystery of how her family died. And I had her actually look at some ashes or whatever in her microscope up in her room when I was playing her. My theory is maybe Remington, Cara, and the Chikor daughters and their future husbands maybe all graduated high school together and maybe were friends. And maybe he never told Cara how he felt since they both had careers where eyes were on them, and maybe he was going to tell her how he feels, but then Raynell got hold of him and the fire happened, and maybe he felt he owed it to his friends to raise their children, so that put an end to that. And maybe the daughters knew about their father's secret as well, and then that would have made Vamsi nervous, since she herself has a child with John, so that might be one of the reasons why Vamsi agreed to start a fire or something. I think that this raises a lot of good points. I think that for sure that Remington, Cara, and the Chikor daughters and their future husbands could very well have been in high school together, maybe even at university, and that they could have been friends. And that could also be part of how Remington got to know John Smith at least a little bit. And this also raises a very good point about something that I mentioned earlier, about the question if one of the mothers might be aware of the parentage of the children. And I think that actually the situation for Vamsi is quite different. I think that for sure she has some sort of history with the art career and her family being very rich and influential, that she was either working for or sort of collaborating with John Smith, and that they had an affair, and that she was fully aware about everything going on. And when she broke things off and decided to raise Swan, that she sort of kept that close to her heart. But I was theorizing during the filming of this video that the reason why Vamsi wanted to get rid of the Chikor family was in order to take away the competition for her business. But thinking more about it, I don't really think that makes sense, because Remington is actually the one who has the art business, and I think that he's also governing it for the Chikor family, whatever their part of it is. So I think that getting rid of the Chikors for that reason doesn't really make sense, actually, when I think more about it. However, if Vamsi was aware that Swan is actually a Chikor by birth, then this could be her scheme to take down the family that betrayed her and that are being a competition for her in the town with the art work, and that, I mean, they might have some dirt on her as well, that they know that she's into crime and that she's not doing things legally. But then also, with all of the Chikors out of the way, that could be her chance to officially claim the Chikor fortune for Swan. So I think that's actually what happened here for Vamsi's part of this whole thing, and why she schemed to take them down. However, that's not the full story. That was just sort of her motivation. But then this is not like isolated. There are some more players in here and some more interesting characters that we're gonna have to look at later. One other thing, the Chikor family is matrilineal, like the Caps and Summer Dreams. So Vaudoin would be the one inheriting the house, not Fricorith. And that's something that I actually hadn't even considered, but that is very, very true. I'm pretty sure that John Smith wasn't a Chikor from the start, but that he married into the family, and that their daughters were carrying on with the Chikor last name as well. So it actually does make sense. And I think actually that being involved in the business later on and being responsible for carrying on with the family suits Vaudoin a lot better than Frikoris, because Frikoris seems more like a free spirit, more artistic in some ways, and he might prefer to pursue some sort of fame career path, and Vaudoin seems more focused on being serious about maintaining something like a family business, I guess. I also like the idea of maybe Frikoris being more of like a model, since he likes films and literature and makeup and clothes, and Vaudoin could be more business-minded and take over more of the Chikor company or something like that. Yeah, exactly. I think so too. Starting with Mr. Big, I envision him as a close friend of John Smith. In my mind, John was an art collector who owned a gallery and a company that sold paintings and sculptures in downtown and other neighborhoods. He met Mr. Big when he was just a young man, barely graduated from university, but soon recognized Mr. Big's sharp business acumen. John employed him at his company, and they grew closer, developing an almost father-son relationship. Mr. Big in many ways owes his career to John and idolizes him. However, he remains blissfully unaware of the darker aspects of John's life. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that if he was friends with John's children, they could have met earlier, but if he actually was employed in this business and started to get involved in things, that the relationship changed quite quickly after that. His admiration for John may blind him to his mentor's unsavory aspects, leading to significant conflicts down the line, especially if Mr. Big uncovers the truth about John's business practices and personal life. Will he unintentionally mirror some of John's flaws, such as having an extramarital affair with Cara or rationalizing questionable business practices to justify his ambitions? Or does he harbor a deep desire to be different from the man he idolizes? I guess we're going to have to see. I mean, yeah, for sure, he does think about having an affair with Cara, and I think that's something that I'm going to pursue, actually. As for questionable business practices, I think that he is not that kind of person, but I guess we're going to have to see what happens. Vamsi Custer also plays a pivotal role. She previously worked with John in his smuggling operations, and their relationship grew romantic. Initially, she may have trusted him, but John's deceit, dividing fees unequally and cheating on her, eventually shattered that trust. When she became pregnant and gave birth to Swan, she hoped it would lead John to spend more time with them, but he remained distant, leading her to suspect his infidelities. After hiring a private investigator and confirming her suspicions, she vowed revenge and plotted to take over his company with a sinister plan to kill him and his family in a staged fire. What she underestimated was that the younger family members, the cousins, were not home that fateful night, and John had already chosen Mr. Big as his successor. I believe Mr. Big and Vamsi should share mutual dislike. He doesn't know she was responsible for John's death, but senses she cannot be trusted. Perhaps he even has advised his wife, Raynell, to be cautious of her. A lot of this makes a lot of sense, and it's what I'm thinking as well. It's really impressively written, by the way. This comment is incredible. And yes, for sure, I think that there is a history between Vamsi and John Smith, and that led to a pregnancy and breaking of trust and so on. I think that John Smith might have done some underhanded things, but not right out smuggling. That's something that Vamsi has done on her own, I think. So I think that the Chikor family business is more clean than the Custer family business is. But yeah, for sure, something like this has definitely gone down. As for Raynell, I don't think she's involved in John's demise. While she might serve as the family's tarot reader, she isn't malicious. I can imagine her being a gold digger, yet not with harmful intent. I mean, in some ways, I think that could be true, but then again, I think that she's a little bit more sinister than that. I think that she is a very selfish person and a little bit naive. So, as I said, I think that she might have bitten off more than she can chew with this, and that she might be experiencing second thoughts now. You know, living together in the same household as two people she's scheming to murder is probably not a very easy thing. And it really puts things in a very different light than just killing off some people that she's not really spent a lot of time with. So I think that's how things are. With all this new wealth, Raynell may struggle to find who she can truly trust, having long dreamed of joining high society. Any scorn she faces for marrying an older man could leave her feeling isolated, which might draw her to Vamsey, unaware of her hidden motives. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where and how this started. It could very well be the case that she started out meeting Mr. Big and started to date him, and that drew Vamsey's eyes to her, that they met after that somehow, and that she got involved in her schemes after that point. But I do think that there was a scheme even before they got married, and that her pushing their relationship along so quickly was in order to progress with this plan. So yeah, but I think there's quite a lot of deceit coming from Vamsey's part in order to ensnare Raynell, to do a lot of the dirty work for her. Every character of this story might embody various reactions to the Chikor legacy. One branch could seek power, another might chase the truth, while a third could become drawn into the family's mystical ties, exploring supernatural elements further. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's a lot going on here. And in fear of accidentally revealing too much, I'm going to head along. I think Remington is the type of man who likes to keep the peace. I can see him keeping the secrets of everyone around him. However, as he's getting older, the secret keeping is starting to eat at him. One can only hold in so much for so long. I think his loyalty to John has prevented him from seeking out John's surviving children. Remington was a successful man before John's death, but who doesn't enjoy getting a free home and cash? So Remington has some selfish tendencies too. That's very true. He is really caring about the cousins, I think, and he does feel a sense of devotion and duty to look after them. But definitely it comes with a lot of benefits, for sure. Remington's marriage to Raynell is to keep up appearances. Simple as that. Raynell is young and impressible, which helps fill Remington's ego. Although he's attracted to her, Cara has too much drive and ambition for his pride. He is impressed by Cara, but she's just too much. With his art business opening up soon, he wants to go on a date with Cara for promotion purposes. If he could get Cara to endorse his business, then any lurking competition with Vamsey wouldn't have a chance to stand. Yeah, that could be an idea, actually. I don't know what Raynell would have to say about that, and the paparazzi would have a field day with it. But I think that it makes a lot of sense for him to want to invite over Cara to a lot of his exhibitions, and for it to be very public that she's supporting his business. That's just good press, you know? And that could be an excuse for him to have her close as well, even though they're not a couple. I don't think Raynell is a woman that can be trusted. She has a very sneaky vibe to her, backstabber's vibe. To rid the competition, she could have Frikorith, Vaudoin, Remington have memory loss via one of those few fancy bar drinks. No blood involved. No need to hide any dead bodies. The issue with that is having the city forget that they are a part of the Chikor estate. She will have to make some mighty connections with city council, maybe Senator Creelman, to alter John Smith's will and testimony paperwork. Having a child of her own would be the cherry on top. That is actually a really, really interesting idea. And yeah, I could definitely see her wanting to get close with Creelman for something like that. Yes, very good idea. Vamsey has befriended Raynell to get inside information on Remington's business. I mean, that's a really good idea. That could definitely be the point. One of the reasons, because if she has like an inside man in the business, then she can get all the information she needs to be very harsh in her competition. I can see Vamsey having a mafia mentality. Once she deems someone no longer a good use, she gets rid of them. I agree. I think that Raynell is very useful for her at the moment, but she also knows a lot of dangerous secrets. So there is definitely not any reassurance that Raynell is gonna live for very long. After all, with all of this going on. Next, we have the Bile, Shahan, and Sarter family. Ian, Samuel, and Zach were dormies at uni and decided to stick together as roommates in downtown. They're all about partying and having the time of their lives as they are establishing themselves in town. So Ian is a fortune knowledge sim. He enjoys tinkering and sports. His lifetime wish is to own 5 top-level businesses. He is currently in the business career, and I am considering maybe having him and the 2 other sims in the neighborhood in the business career be part of Remington's business. So once I make an active career for Remington, I'm going to have them as the employees. I think that's going to be really interesting. He is interested in Trista Phelps, but they don't get along. So they were attending, they met each other and they did not get along about anything. And then Trista came over for a party and they were still not getting along as soon as they started to talk to each other. But then Trista tried to flirt with him. So there's definitely some interest there, but they have sort of I guess maybe something like an enemies to lovers going on here. Enemies with benefits. Let's see what happens. And something that I found hilariously ironic after rewatching this was that I realized that Ian's last name is a pun. You know how Malcolm Landgrab, like the Landgrab name, is sort of a pun on how that family is grabbing land all over the place. And Ian is having a lifetime wish that he wants to have 5 top-level businesses, and his last name is By All. How is this happening so randomly? It's just too perfect. It's like I wrote it, but it's just random. Wow. Yeah, so it just fits perfectly. Then we have Samuel, who is a knowledge popularity sim. He's interested in sports and nature. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the sports career. But he's currently in the entertainment career, though, as a lounge singer, I'm pretty sure. He doesn't necessarily like partying, but he goes along with his friends. And he wants to become famous. So that's why he's in the entertainment career right now. But I think I might want to switch him over to the athletic career after all later on. Let's see. And finally, we have Zach, who is a popularity family sim. He's interested in cuisine and music and dance. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the military career, but he's in the culinary career right now. He dreamed of joining the military, but he didn't make the cut. That's sort of my story for it. And he's a social butterfly. I mean, I played just 2 days with these guys, but in the end, because of Zach's efforts, they knew enough people to actually host a party. So he gets along really, really well with a lot of people. I think he wanted to be in the Air Force, but it turned out that he was colorblind, so he couldn't be, so he holds his dreams of flying. And that could definitely be the case. Something like that, some physical reason why he wasn't qualified to join the military, I think, is what I'm going with here. Maybe a good reason to be denied entry in military could be some form of asthma. That could definitely be the case as well. Maybe them or one of them starts a business organizing parties for the rich and famous. Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be the case. If Ian wants to have businesses, that could be something, and that would really fit also with the vibe in this town. And I mean, that could be a partnership that he has with Zach, maybe, because Zach is such a party guy, you know? He thrives on hosting parties, after all. Next is the Daltons. Tyler was married, had a successful career, a big house, and 2 beautiful daughters when tragedy struck. His wife suddenly passed away. Tyler didn't cope well and got himself addicted to gambling and drinking. This led to him losing all savings, putting himself into debt, and eventually also losing his job. He got a wake-up call when the social workers threatened to take away his daughters, and he started recovering. So basically he has been living for his daughters. And Tyler is a family knowledge sim. He's interested in games. His lifetime wish is to graduate 3 children from college. He is in the law enforcement career, but he used to be in the intelligence career. But he lost that job and became a part-time security guard instead. He is a widower. He is a recovering gambling addict, but he still buys lottery tickets. He's friends with Warren and Krista Landry. They are his poker buddies. And he owes Warren money. So he doesn't only have loans with Monique's computer, I think he also owes some money to the Landry family. And he's currently interested in Jessica Walter, actually. They have 2 boys together, and they're both elders who are soon to be living alone when their children are aging to young adults. So that could be interesting. Also, she has a dog, and he does want to have a pet, so he would be getting a dog together with her if he does move in with her eventually. We're gonna have to see. And then we have Hailey, who is a knowledge sim. She's interested in music, and she is in the slacker career. She is very social despite being so shy. So both that she has come home with a lot of my sims in the neighborhood, even though I couldn't really have her stay with them before I got to know her. But also because when I was playing her, she constantly wanted to go outside to interact with, I think it was Lauren, one of her neighbors. So she's really, seeking out companionship, and I think that has to do with her being quite playful. So despite being shy, she's sociable. So I think that I might end up making her like a secondary popularity sim once she's at university. She's friends with Lakshmi, Phelps, and Dagmar Toyonaga. And I said that it was pretty ironic that she got friendly with Dagmar, because she would have probably gotten along better with her sister Aisha, who is more similar to Hailey actually in personality, and they have the same hobby as well. But it was actually Dagmar who came home with her after school, so that's just how it went. That's funny how Tyler, unlike Hailey, seems to be attracted to almost every sim he meets. I agree. He met so many women who he had 2 bolts of attraction with. I think that he's getting really, really desperate from companionship at this point. He really wants to find a new love in his life. Hailey's lack of studying ability could be from her grieving the loss of her mom. I'm getting the vibe that her dad and big sister Ivy had a rough time with the loss of their mom, Tyler's spouse, and his gambling addiction. I mean, that's a good point. I think that Tyler has been really, really down in the, at rock bottom, and that he's probably had a rough time trying to support his daughters in a lot of things, and that has maybe led Hailey to not be taught how to study early on. And there's quite a big age difference between her and Ivy as well. So I think that back when she would have needed some help with studying, Ivy wasn't really around because Ivy was at university. So I think that might have been something that could explain that actually. I was thinking about why Tyler did not retire, since he could get a nice pension out of his intelligence career and also join such a low-wage job as a night shift security guard. He was probably fired, and it may be because of his gambling problems, but maybe it was because he was investigating a deadly accident at the House of Fallen Trees. He was very dedicated to get to the bottom of it, but it got noticed by Renelle, who certainly didn't want anyone to pay close attention to the case. So she contacted Vamsy Custer, and Vamsy pulled her strings, and it got Tyler out of the job for stupid reasons. And nobody really asked any questions about his dismissal, since he drowned his sorrows in gambling since his wife left him. But he knows that someone from high circles wanted him gone, and he totally knows that it's the House of Fallen Trees case that got him fired, so it was a right lead. That's very, very interesting. And I think that makes a lot of sense, actually, that whatever he was investigating and what he was involved with, I think that it has something to do with the Chikor family, or whatever is going around that, or maybe something surrounding the art business. And I think that Tyler might have lost his job investigating one part of it all. And then similarly, his daughter's roommate, Shanna, who was also like a police officer who investigated something and got fired, was trying to find something out about another part of the mystery, and that they have very similar experiences, but that Tyler wasn't really able to cope with that tragedy, what with everything else going around in his life. And Shana, on the other hand, as I mentioned, has risen to the occasion and taken on a more heroic stance here. So I think that that is something that could really connect the two of them down the line as they get to know each other better. Because, of course, Tyler's daughter is her roommate. And then the last family, the Rahas. Dante adopted the twins back when he was in a steady relationship, but sadly it turned sour shortly after, and he was left to raise them alone. He's been having a hard time to find a steady partner since then, and instead decided to focus on work. Sadly, his investments in different indie projects have led to nothing except debt. So Dante is a family fortune sim. He has the music hobby. He wants to earn 100,000 simoleons. He is in the slacker career. He's a home video editor. He is gay. He has had a wild and chaotic love life. He's friends with Tyler, Dalton, and Christian Love. He put his life savings into indie productions that never kicked off, and now he's in debt. He doesn't show affection often and can come off as uncaring, and I theorize that that might have been like the reason why many of his relationships failed, because he just wasn't showing enough affection. Then we have his son, Abhijit, who is a knowledge fortune sim. He is interested in music and sports. His lifetime wish is to reach level 10 in the law career. He is currently in the business career, and as I mentioned, I think he's going to be working for Mr. Big. He's twins with Christy, and they're both adopted. He's a little sloppy, impatient, and careless. He has a lot of energy, and I also said that he seems to be something of a dreamer. He's a little bit naive at the moment. He doesn't really know what life has in store for him. So I think that Dante has been keeping the twins pretty happy-go-lucky, I guess. That they are really aiming for success, and that they can't really imagine any other different outcome in some ways. So I think that both of them have quite a lot of confidence, and that they might get burned because of it. Maybe Dante's career couldn't go farther because he had a hard time balancing child raising with work. Perhaps he was a single father at the peak of his career and couldn't find extra time for film editing bigger projects. Yeah, I think that's plausible. Of course, looking after children as a single parent is hard work, and unless he has money enough to have someone come over looking after them or so on, it's going to be difficult. And I think that similarly to Lindsay, I think that Dante is someone who would want to be around for his children, and that he would prioritize his kids before his career. I can really see Dante being an aspiring music video editor, but now working for the Diva's talk show for money. I think that's a good point. And I do need to have someone who is going to be sort of recording and editing the episodes for the Diva. So I think that Dante is a really good choice for that. It would be nice to not have to use only townies as the staff for the Diva. So I think I'm going to be using Dante, actually. Abhijit might find it difficult not to live with his twin anymore. I can see them being very close when they were young, both being creatives. That's a good point. Abhijit is interested in playing instruments, of course, and Christy is interested in arts. So that could definitely be the case, that they had a lot of those kinds of things in common that they were bonding about. That's fun how father and son ended up with the same one true hobbies and overall similar other hobbies. Wonder if they like watching indie movies together to discuss their editing techniques, and also discussing ongoing well-known court cases, such as if there is celebrities involved or if it's really scandalous, and how they think the law will handle it. This comment was painting such a sweet picture of how the two of them are sort of spending their days together. I really, really love it. Perhaps when Dante is taking Moody out for a walk, he's also scouting potential filming locations. Yeah, that's very possible, for sure. I think that if he has dedicated his life to editing, he's looking at the world in a different way than most other people, I think. And that when some other people would just see a dark alley, he would see a movie scene displayed in front of him, sort of. Can imagine with Dante's hobby being music and dance, he gets some extra income by editing music video footage for singers and bands. And maybe if Abhijit gets to work in law, he can help music acts if they get in trouble with stuff like song plagiarism accusations. Yeah, for sure. I think that would really make sense. Since Abhijit seems really focused on reaching the top of the law career and considering we're in downtown, maybe he could aim to become a lawyer specializing in copyright, music, entertainment, and trademarks, with a focus on intellectual property and entertainment law. As a child, he saw his father struggle because others kept stealing his work, which is why he never made it to the top. So when it was time for Abhijit to choose a path and to go to university, he decided to study something that could help his father and people like him. I love this. I really love this idea. It really ties together with the previous comment as well. And it just makes so much sense. I think that there is actually a career level in the law career that's like, what is it called? Like, not fame attorney, but something similar to that. Maybe celebrity attorney or something. But yeah, that could definitely be something to aim for with him. I was also thinking that it might make more sense if Abhijit and Sid Roseland were childhood friends instead of Sid and Dante. Sid is active, of a similar age, and has a career in sports, so it would make sense that they've known each other for a long time. Given their friendship, it would be totally fitting that Sid was the one to give them Moody, as they've always had each other's backs. That's a really good point, and that's not something that I was thinking about as I was recording the episode, but yes, for sure. I think that Sid and Abhijit would get along really, really well. They have a lot in common, and it would make so much sense for the two of them to be close friends. So I'm actually going to set that up for them when I play them next time. Maybe for now, Abhijit is working in a business career to build a solid foundation, gaining insight into how companies operate, how contracts are structured, and how intellectual property is managed. Before making the switch to law, it could be a strategic move to better understand the industry he wants to protect as a lawyer. In the future, it could be really fun if Abhijit started his own law firm specializing in these areas. Yeah, that could be really interesting for sure. And it's a good point that he might be checking out the scene now in Mr. Big's business. I mean, it could definitely be possible also that Mr. Big eventually offers him a position as a company lawyer instead. And that might be his shoe-in into the law career. So yeah, we're going to have to see about that. So that was all of the families in this neighborhood. Thank you so, so much to everyone who has been commenting these amazing comments. It's been a true joy to read this through and to take these things into consideration as well. I've really been feeling like we've been building this neighborhood together, and it's been so much fun actually to do this, to bounce ideas off each other and to come up with different scenarios together. It's really awesome. So yeah, with that done, there's only the broken face templates to resolve. And yeah, after that, I'm going to be starting up with some small renovations. I'm going to, of course, be starting with the high school and maybe one more community lot or something like that. And then I can play the Landre family. So let's see. That's for season 2. And before that, I'm going to resolve the broken face template issue. So, long story short, we have 4 Sims in this neighborhood with broken face templates. Those are Orion Teens, Rose Miller, Dominic Gray, and Tiave Teens. For Orion and Tiave, I'm going to be able to just go into the game and use plastic surgery to make the fix. No issue. However, Rose Miller and Dominic Gray have unique faces. So I'm not going to be able to simply click one of the face templates to fix their appearances. So what I've done instead is download copies of these Sims that someone has painstakingly taken the time to create so that I don't have to do it. But then I can simply replace their appearances with the ones from those pre-made sims. So I'm going to show you both alternatives, how to do it. So let's start with just going into, let's go with Orion's household here. And I'm going to be able to summon in Tiave in order to fix him. So yeah, let's go. So here we are, and I thought that I was gonna have to wake them up, but apparently I've messed around with my mods again after I played this last. So they were actually errored out of their beds already, which suits me fine. So we have Orion here. Let's start with just go Gussie up, plastic surgery. All right, and then he should just have the second face template. So I should just be able to click this. Oh, it actually wasn't loading. Okay. Okay, good. So I clicked it and nothing visibly happened. So that's just confirming that this is the case, that he just has a second face template. So now that I've clicked this, I've actually physically clicked it this time. It replaced the face template he had on from the start, and I can take OK. And then I'm going to have to make it genetic in CMP after. And I'm going to be able to do the same thing with Tiav. So I'm going to summon him in. Oh my god, he ended up in the other apartment. That was not what I wanted. Okay. And then I can do the same thing for him. Plastic surgery. And he should also just have the second face template. Yeah, nothing happened really. So just take OK. And we can clear him off. There we go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and save here. I'm just going to leave the fixing of the beds and everything for next time I play. And I'm going to exit the game and do the rest in SimPE. And I've loaded up SimPE, so I'm going to start by opening up Downtown in my neighborhood browser. Or well, Driftwood in this case. There we go. So I just waited until everything loaded in the bottom left here. And I'm going to go to sim description. And I'm going to start with Orion. There he is. And let's go to more. Open character file. Facial structure. And you see that we have two different ones here now. We have one instance number 2 at the top. And one instance number 1 right below it. So the facial structure here is the current genetic one that he has. The one that he had from the start with a broken face. So that's the one that his children are going to inherit, even though this is the one that is displaying for him from this point on because of the plastic surgery. But I want to make this one genetic as well. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this. And I'm just going to put it on my desktop. And I'm going to go to facial structure number 1 and replace. And I need to use the SimPE file, not the XML file. That's very important. So the SimPE file. You see that it's in italics because it has changed something. So then I just have to click save. And that is done properly this time. And I'm going to go back to neighborhood browser and do the same thing for Tiav. To go, I'm going to go sim description and look for Tiav. There he is. Open character file. Facial structure. Looking for instance 2. I'm going to extract that. Save. And I can replace it. It doesn't matter because the replaced file is going to be the one that I'm using in this case. So just click yes here. And I am replacing instance 1 with this SimPE file. And I'm saving. That was the easy part. Now, though, because as I mentioned, Rose and Dominic have unique faces, I have to do this in a different way. So I'm going to go ahead and open this folder. That's my saved sims. And this is where I have downloaded the fixed versions of Dominic and Rose. So I'm going to, as you can see, I've done the same thing with Mickey Dossier as well from La Fiesta Tech. But I'm going to open up Dominic Gray first. There we go. I'm going to go to his facial structure. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to extract this, save. Oh, it didn't replace it this time. Did it create a separate file? Oh, it did. I think I'm going to just delete this because I don't know which one is which at this point. So I'm just going to redo that to make sure that I do this correctly. Extract, save. And then I can just close this. I don't need this anymore. And I already have this window open, so I can go back to neighborhood browser, Driftwood, and I'm going to look for Dominic. And I'm going to go more, open character file, facial structure. You see here's the botched attempt at plastic surgery that I did. But I'm going to replace instance 1. I actually think that I best remove this one because it still has the broken face template in his plastic surgery. So I'm going to delete this actually. And this one, instance 1, that's his genetic instance, I'm going to replace with this one that I saved from the other sim. I'm going to save. And that just keeps instance 1 for him. And it's the fixed one. So now that he ages up and his genetics is going to carry on with that appearance instead. Good. I'm going to go do the same thing for Rose Miller. Facial structure. And I'm going to extract, save. I did the same thing again. Okay, I'm going to delete this again then, make sure that I actually know which one is which. There we go. I'm going to close this because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to open up the neighborhood again. And we need to have Rose Miller, character file, facial structure, and the same thing here as well. I have to delete the plastic surgery version and replace with the SimPE file and save. And only instance 1 remains. Awesome. Okay, that was actually it finally. I have resolved the broken face template situation. And yeah, finally ready to start with season 2. So I hope that you're excited for that as well. Thank you so much for following along with me on this wrap-up episode, and see you for season 2. Take care. Bye.